In this video, I'm going to walk you through the process of getting a life insurance quote from State Farm Insurance and show you how, if you're not careful, you could easily spend double the price as if you'd bought life insurance from another top-rated company. My name is Chris Huntley with Life Insurance Shopping Reviews, and I've been a life insurance agent for 18 years, which makes me your expert nerd on life insurance. But trust me, if you stick with me to the end of this video, you're going to learn something new that you didn't know about how to save some money on life insurance. Let's dive in. Okay, so let's get started with this quote process step by step. And I'm just at statefarm.com. Right on their homepage is where you initiate the quote process. So you just come here and you switch the drop down from auto to life, put in your state, and click to start a quote. First thing that I want to mention here is that this is a quote for term life insurance only, which does require a medical exam from State Farm. If you're looking for a quote for permanent life insurance, you would need to speak to a State Farm agent. So I'm going to go ahead and I do want to click yes, but before I do that, there is a little drop down here that a lot of people will not notice because it's a small link. And this is eligibility requirements. So it's going to be from 18 to 75. They don't allow any major illnesses, DUI, reckless driving in the past 5 years. By the way, if you were to use an agent at Life Insurance Shopping Reviews, we do have some options for people who have had DUIs in the last 5 years. So that's okay. A lot of companies are stringent on that, and so those people aren't going to be a good fit for State Farm. But anyway, let's go ahead and continue with the quote, and let's just put in some information here. I am 42 years old, and let's just say that this is my birthday, and I'm going to get a quote for $500,000 20-year term, and we're going to say we haven't used any nicotine. I'm 6'2", about 185 right now. And what I'm doing here in this process is I want to see what their best quote is. And then I'm going to show you a little bit of the problem with getting a quote for their best rate. And it has to do with these definitions here. So I'm going to come back to this here in a second. But here's their definitions. We'll come back. For now, let's just see what their best rate is. Excellent. And again, I want a quote for $500,000, 20 years. We're going to review our information here. $500,000, 20 years. We're 42 years old. I'm recording this here in January of 2022. So that looks good. It's going to give us an option to add waiver of premium for disability. That allows you to stop paying premiums if you become disabled. You can also add coverage for a spouse or another adult or child coverage. I'm just going to say no to these and get my quote. This is pretty cool that it does not require any personal information and they actually show you a rate. So we're going to jot this down here, but remember this, it's $46.09. And what we'll do now that I really also like that I want to show you is you can change the term length, you can change the coverage amount, and they show you other premiums here. So that's very nice. What I want to do though is I mentioned when you saw their different health ratings, excellent, fair, average, all those. I want to show you what happens to this quote if we change that. But first, I also want to just show you on our site, Life Insurance Shopping Reviews, we've got a quoter as well that also requires no personal information. So I've keyed in the same information here, and I'm going to view quotes. I want to show you the difference in the best quote on this site, which is $35 per month from AIG, because we're going to use that as a basis. $35 isn't a lot less than $46 that we just saw from State Farm. If you already have a policy or two with State Farm, it might make a lot of sense for you to just to keep your insurance with State Farm, especially if it's just a small amount. And you might say, it's $10, $11, no big deal, I'll just keep it with State Farm. They might even give you a discount, to have a multi-policy discount. What I do want to show you though is, $10, $11, no big deal. Where it does become a big deal is when you start looking at, we go back here, when you start looking at their other rates here, and what I'm going to need to do is just start the process over again, and it just takes a quick moment. And I'll pause this to get back to where I was. Okay, so I just keyed in, my over here a birth date, gender, tobacco, height, weight, and I'm back to this page here. And what I want to do is take a little bit closer look at these definitions, especially in the excellent category. And I wanted you to just take a look at a couple of these. Cholesterol less than 175, blood pressure less than 115/70. Now, an average or normal blood pressure, that's really a great blood pressure, 120/80. I've been an agent for over 18 years. I've looked at a lot of exam results from thousands of clients. I'll bet I could count on one hand the amount of people who have had a cholesterol less than 175 and blood pressure less than 115/70. That is really low. I do want to say, it's possible that these are not State Farm's actual underwriting guidelines, but at least in their quoter, these are the guidelines they're giving. So I'm just going off of what they're publishing here, to the public as to their requirements. So let's say that you have a blood pressure of 124/80. That's really not so bad. I don't think any doctor would have any problem with that. They wouldn't even consider putting you on medication at 124/80. And for most life insurance companies, like what we were just looking at here, it's not going to be a problem. But it's a big problem for State Farm according to these guidelines. So if you were at 124/80, you couldn't qualify for this. You're over that, so you can't get excellent. You can't even get their second best rating, which is 120/75, because you've got 124/80. That means you're going to fall into this third category, average. So let's continue the quote. Remember, our first quote was $46. Let's continue this. Again, we're going to ask for 500 in 20 years. And again, you can see that these were all the same inputs that I did in the first quote. The only difference was this time I selected average instead of excellent. So our quote now has gone up from $46 to $63.49. So keep that in mind. Well, how does this compare to, let's say, I said, it's not a big problem for other companies like these. Well, let me show you. That top company was AIG. And they actually publish their underwriting guidelines kind of similarly what we just looked at State Farm. Now, this is total nerd stuff, but it's so important because now we're not talking about saving $10 per month. We're talking about, we got a quote here for $35 compared to a quote for $63. I mean, that is huge. Imagine paying that over 20 years. It's like thousands of dollars, right? This is a big deal, guys. So let's take a look, though. Again, we were looking at a blood pressure of 124/80. Well, this is AIG's preferred plus non-tobacco. This is their best health category. And you can see that if you're under 59, like I am, that blood pressure, as long as it's under 135/85, you can get their absolute best rating. And you can see, they also have their other health classes preferred, standard plus. So these aren't quite as good. And it's even easier to get into those, 140/85, 145/90, and so on. But the point is, I would have no problem going to a company like AIG, and there's some other companies as well, and getting their best rating, whereas I can only fit into State Farm's third best rating, according to what they're showing on their website. So that's a problem, guys, and it really has to do with going to an independent agent who's going to be able to help you with your particular issues. If you're at 124/80, I mean, you probably don't even know that you have an issue. You don't even have an issue, right? But you always want to get a quote from more than one source. So don't just rely on State Farm. That's the number one thing that I would say. They've got some pretty stringent guidelines to get into their top tiers, and it's going to raise your price if you can't get into those top tiers. And the next thing I would say, don't just get another quote, because you might go to a company like
Northwestern Mutual or New York Life or Farmers, which none of those would probably be much better. You want to go to an independent agent, kind of like the ones that we have at Life Insurance Shopping Reviews. But there's other independent agents out there too that are reputable. There's Select Quote and others. JRC Insurance Group's a good one. So there's others. We'd be happy to help you to give you a quote. And all a good agent's going to do is they're going to go through your list of any medications that you take. They're going to take your height and weight. They're going to ask about your family's history of medical conditions, whether you've had cancer or heart disease in your family. All these type of things, companies like State Farm, every company is going to penalize you for. Okay, and so you need to be really careful. Let's take a look at the beginning of the video. I said that you can actually pay up to double. And I'm going to go through it, by using State Farm instead of a company like AIG that I've shown you for $35 per month. And let me just show you that example real quick. I'm going to go back to the beginning of this quote and put back in the details. And this time I'm going to show you a cholesterol issue that State Farm is pretty stringent on. Okay, and we're back to this screen again. And again, I want to highlight this cholesterol level in the fair category because there's a phenomenon that exists where a lot of people don't realize that you have good and bad cholesterol. And so people can actually have some pretty decent cholesterol that have a lot of good cholesterol as compared to bad. So I want you to imagine that our individual applying here has a cholesterol level, a total cholesterol level of 240, but they have a really high good cholesterol level, which is called HDL, of 80. So that would be total cholesterol 240 and good cholesterol of 80. The problem here is in the categories that we've got here, if you've got a total cholesterol of 240, as you can see, you can't fit into their excellent category. You can't fit into State Farm's good category, nor can you fit into their average category. You're going to end up fitting into their fair category. So you can qualify for that because 240 is less than 270. So let's see what that does to the price. Now we're at their fourth best rating. We're going to again do $500,000 20-year term. I just want to review. This is someone that has, let's say, no medications. There's someone who's a good, solid height and weight. This person might exercise 5 days per week and eat well and do running and yoga and who knows what, and have good family history and not have any tickets, all this stuff. But if they just have this one thing, this could kick them out of the top 3 tiers for State Farm. And look what it does to the price. So total cholesterol of 240, we're now paying $83 per month. That's a big difference when our first quote was $46 per month, right? That's almost double what our first quote was, and it's more than double the quote that we had here from AIG. In fact, it's 137% more. But you might say, well, Chris, who's going to be able to qualify for this $35 per month rate when they've got a cholesterol level of 240? That's really high. And I just want to remind you that a good independent agent is going to know some tricks, okay? And we've been doing this a long time. And one of the tricks that I know is that not all companies rate you based on your total cholesterol. A lot of them rate you based on that ratio of good to total cholesterol. AIG happens to be one of them, and you can actually qualify for this rating, and let me prove it to you. So these again are underwriting guidelines which they publish to the public. You could go look up AIG underwriting guidelines for life insurance and you could find this page. Okay, here's their requirements. For all of their categories, you need to have a cholesterol of under 300. So 240, we're good, right? But they give additional there's additional guidelines for each class. For their best class, preferred plus non-tobacco, that's where we got our $35 per month quote. You have to have an HDL ratio of 4.5 or less. Well, we had 240 was our total. 80 was our HDL ratio, our good cholesterol. What's 240 into 80? 3. We've got a ratio of 3. So we will also be under 4.5, and we will qualify for Preferred Plus non-tobacco like we should. So in this case, by using State Farm life insurance, you could actually pay up to 137% more than if you had gone to an independent agent who placed you with the right company. I'm not saying, there's a lot that they have to look at, right? Both of these companies would require a medical exam, and there's a lot of other factors, but I am just pointing out some of the ones that are published. And if you got a particular issue like that, you want to be, generally speaking, you want to be with a company that is going to be a little bit more lenient. And it's not just lenient on blood pressure or cholesterol, it's lenient, they're more lenient, I can almost guarantee you. I haven't seen all of State Farm's guidelines, but I can almost guarantee you if there's been some history of some sort of disease in the family, or there's a driving history, or maybe you smoke the occasional cigar, or maybe you've got a more hazardous type of occupation, or you're a pilot. There's so many things that insurance companies can ding you for. You want to be going to a company that's going to be more lenient on you, because the name of the game is getting into these top tiers. That's where the savings are. And folks, this could save you from $35 to, what was it, $83, and we're talking almost $50 a month for 20 years. That's like thousands of dollars. So be very, very careful. Again, always get more than one quote, and if you can, try to get a quote from an independent insurance agency. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'll put a link underneath this video to where you can get quotes from our site, and you can request an application, or you can call us if you need any help. Or if you're on our website watching this, then there will be links and phone numbers all around, free to call and ask for help. That's it for this review. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you've learned something. Thanks a lot. I'm Chris Huntley. Talk to you soon.